I wanted to say a couple of words about the general way in which our musculature works, which is so beautiful and so elegant. Our musculature works in a reciprocal way. As certain muscles contract, other muscles relax or lengthen. That's the reciprocity. As my biceps contract, the triceps, the muscles under my arm, you don't need to know these Latin names at all, but just that the basic way in which we work is that as what's called the agonist contracts, the antagonist muscle relaxes or lengthens. So it enables my biceps to contract. Of course, for many of us, we live in a state of what some people call co-contraction, meaning both the agonist and the antagonist are contracted at the same time. And of course, that's problematic and exhausting. So in terms of posture, an easy way to think is that the fundamental problem of posture is that so many of us are forward, or call it the problem of forwardness. And so we're pulled forward, and that means that there is a co-contraction of the muscles of the front of myself and the muscles of my back. The muscles of my back are having to work hard so I don't fall forward, but the muscles of the front of myself are contracted, and that's what pulls me forward. Now, this is an easily solved problem if one understands how the nervous system learns, how the nervous system develops habits. And the solution to this problem is, fortunately, built in to every Feldenkrais awareness through movement lesson. This is one of Dr. Feldenkrais's many brilliant insights. And so each awareness through movement lesson creates the conditions in which we can learn how to better regulate this reciprocal relationship between the musculature of the front of myself, the flexors, and the muscles of the back of myself. So the lesson that we're going to do today is going to be lying on the stomach. And before you groan or protest, I want to reassure you that we'll make this as comfortable, as simple, as easy as we can do. And the reason I would like to do a lesson on our stomach is that it's on our stomach that we each spent a good portion of the first year of our life. And there's a reason, because on our stomach is where we learned and developed our anti-gravity functions, our ability to lift up against the constant downward force of gravity. It is on our stomach that we learned how to counteract that force by using our musculature in a particular way. The muscles of our back, which you may have heard the term extensors, extensor muscles, or extending your back, but those muscles are also called our anti-gravity muscles. It's those parts of our back, the strong, powerful muscles of our buttocks and our back, through which we are able to counteract this downward force of gravity. But many, many, many of us, maybe the majority of us, feel inhibited about lying on our stomach. Or somebody told us at some time, you shouldn't lie on your stomach because you have that discomfort in your neck. You should never again lie on your stomach. It's not good for you. And I would like to say that that was a mistake. That was based on mistaken information that maybe was good in the moment, meaning that maybe you had an injury or something, and so that was useful information in the moment, but not as a part of your creed for living life. So please lie on your back. Please lie on your back for a moment. If you anticipate that you'll have discomfort lying on your stomach, you could lie on your bed. You could lie on your soft bed on your stomach. You could rest on your back anytime you want. You could do 2 or 3 movements and then lie on your back. In the way that we do awareness through movement, we want to avoid discomfort. We want to avoid any kind of pain. That discomfort is a distraction for our brain and inhibits our ability to learn, to sense, to feel ourselves. Just take a moment to sense and feel your contact with the floor. You can begin with your right foot, your right leg, feeling just where you can let the floor better support you. We're just lying on our back, so there's no need to do any work. See if you can allow your breathing to be simple, easy, even shallow. And your left leg, your left foot, you use your ability to turn your attention inwardly to sense and feel where you can let go, where you can reduce the internal, unnecessary muscular effort that is largely unconscious. But here you have an opportunity to sense yourself in some semblance of quietude. Feel the weight of your pelvis on the floor. You may feel that one side of your pelvis is lying more clearly on the floor than the other side. This is true for most of us. Most of us have one side of our pelvis that presses to the floor a little more than the other. And now your lower back. And now slowly just move your attention up your spine, beginning with your lumbar vertebra, meaning the vertebra of your lower back. And just you move up one vertebra at a time. Some places you can feel your vertebra clearly, and other places less clearly. It's of no matter. You'll see that your whole entire image and contact with yourself is going to expand and change even in just this short hour that we're together today. And you can feel that the vertebra behind your neck, maybe they're not touching the floor. And that's as it should be. There's a nice arch there in our neck, and there's an arch in our lower back. And now direct yourself to your shoulder blades. There's your right shoulder blade. And there's your left shoulder blade. Can you feel, just like with your pelvis, one shoulder blade is probably pressing a little more into the floor than the other? Or one shoulder blade, the area feels a little wider than the other, or narrower. Or one shoulder blade feels a little closer to your ears. And your neck, feel one side of your neck feels shorter or longer. And your right arm leaves your right shoulder, lies on the floor, and your right hand is lying on the floor. Some fingers may be more in contact with the floor than other fingers. And then your left arm, as it emanates from your left shoulder to your left elbow, to your left wrist, and then the fingers of your left hand. Why do you think the fingers of one hand lie on the floor differently than the other? Has nothing to do with your hands. That's the funny thing. It has to do with the way we're organized, our chest, our pelvis. Now, I only highlight these things for you so that you'll feel as we go along that the improvement is easily perceptible to you. And I mention these things because I believe that you're going to be lying on the floor much more comfortably by the end of the lesson. Now, please lie on your stomach. And again, I just want to urge you, if you're uncomfortable, to lie on your bed or to rest after only doing a few movements. You can lie on your back. And now put one hand on top of the other and put your forehead on top of your hands. And imagine that you want to follow a little friendly bug walking up the floor and up the wall that's in front of you. So I'll say it again. You start with your forehead lying comfortably on your hands, and then you lift your head just a little bit as if you wanted to follow something. That's right. And then come back as if you wanted to follow something up the floor and then up the wall, and just feel the weight of your head, the resistance even. Just what's easy. Good. That's enough. That's enough. Now, stand both of your hands on the floor as if you were going to do a push-up and turn your head to the right. Turn your head to the right. So that would mean that your left ear is facing the floor. You stand your hands so your elbows are toward the ceiling. And now slowly push your right hand gently against the floor so that you can feel your shoulder blade, your right shoulder blade, slide a little bit toward your spine. And then you come back. So you just slowly push your right hand against the floor. Lengthen your left arm down alongside you. That's right. So you only have to stand one hand. Now, slowly, you push your right hand, and as you push your right hand against the floor, turn your eyes as if you wanted to see toward the ceiling. Just your eyes. You look with your eyes toward the ceiling at the same time as you push your right hand against the floor. That's right. Just what's easy, just what's simple. And see if you can exhale as you do that. That's nice. Remember, don't do anything that gives you discomfort. That's it. Feel where you can relax your jaw, your left arm. That's nice. Now slowly, instead of looking with your eyes toward the ceiling, this time as you push your right hand against the floor, roll your pelvis a little bit to the left. You roll the right side of your pelvis a tiny bit away from the floor. That's right. And then let it come back. So you roll your pelvis so that the right side of your lower abdomen comes away from the floor. You're helping yourself. You're helping yourself by pushing against the floor gently and rolling your pelvis that little bit. You make it small enough so that you could say to yourself, oh, I could do this for 10 minutes. It would be fine. You keep feeling where you can do less work, less trying, less effort, less wanting to do something well, less achieving. Maybe make the movement half as big as you're doing, and maybe a little slower. We do the movement quickly as if we want to get it over with. But what if you were to do it slowly as if you would like it to continue for a moment? And now, remember a minute ago we were looking with our eyes toward the ceiling. You do that again a few times. Look with your eyes toward the ceiling as you roll your pelvis away from the floor. Can you feel that your left ear comes toward the floor? All right, please stop and please lie on your back. Lie on your back and just sense there's something different about the right side of your back compared to the left. Your right shoulder, the right side of your lower back compared to the left. We don't need to do many movements before our brain begins to change the way we're organized. We need to pay attention to ourselves. We need to sense ourselves. That's the basis of awareness. But we don't need to do 50 movements. We don't need to do it repetitively. Okay, please lie on your stomach again. Stand your left hand this time. Turn your head and eyes to the left. And your right arm down alongside you, your right palm facing the ceiling. And now just slowly begin to push the floor with your left hand now, just slowly. You see, this is the same exact identical problem that we had as infants, finding a way to become comfortable lying on our stomach. And many of us, not all of us, but many of us as adults have forgotten how to be comfortable. Just slowly. The slower you go, the quicker you'll change. And now just begin to move your eyes toward the ceiling as you push your left hand against the floor and slide your left shoulder blade toward your spine. That's all. It's just a small, gentle pushing against the floor as if you're going to use your hand to help you to turn your head a little bit. Of course, your head turns when you look with your eyes towards the ceiling. I'm not saying the head stays still, but your intention is to initiate that from the movement of your eyes. Good. Just rest on your stomach for a moment. Okay, again, stand your left hand. Your left elbow is toward the ceiling. Your left hand is not too close to you and not too far away from you, so that the lower part of your left arm is in a straight line with the floor. And now slowly, you continue that gentle pushing against the floor, but slowly roll your pelvis. Roll your pelvis to the right so that the left side of your stomach comes away from the floor. As you exhale, as you continue this use of your intelligence, it's the best part of yourself that is simply sensing and feeling, and out of that, extraordinary things will happen. You'll see. Don't rush anything. Don't push anything. You roll your pelvis to the right. So the left side of your abdomen comes away from the floor. Just what's easy. And now go ahead and begin to turn your eyes toward the ceiling. But slowly, and you're resting between each movement, resting as much as you want. In fact, we could make the case from a physiological point of view that the resting between the movements is more important than the movements themselves. Good. And please stop and line your back. Just observe if something has changed in the contact of yourself with the floor. Maybe your breathing has changed. Maybe your lower back is lying closer to the floor. Movement that is just done mindlessly doesn't lead to a change in the way that we organize ourselves. It leads to a change in my muscles and my blood flow. I'm not saying anything to diminish the value of exercise. But here, with awareness through movement, with the Feldenkrais method, we enter an entirely different domain than that of repetitive movement. It's the domain of using our inherent neuroplasticity to change our lives for the better. Please lie on your stomach. Now, all of us have a difference or a bias in the turning of our head and neck, meaning that I turn more easily one way or the other. Sometimes this has very little to do with our neck and more to do with our back, our spine, the way that we organize ourselves, our vision. So now slowly, stand both hands now. Stand both hands. And I would like you to slowly alternate. You turn your head to the left and roll your pelvis to the right. And then you very slowly lift your head, take it through the middle, and turn your head to the right and roll your pelvis to the left. Just slowly. Maybe you can think of your eyes turning toward the ceiling, feeling where you can relax your jaw, your throat. Now, when you turn your head to the left, I'd like you to think of your right eye turning toward the ceiling. And then when you turn your head to the right, I'd like you to think of your left eye turning toward the ceiling and relaxing your stomach. And of course, you can stop anytime you want. Your head lies on the floor when you turn. But when you go through the middle, feel, is your pelvis in the middle? Slowly. There's no work necessary in your legs. You probably feel that when you roll your pelvis to the right, your left knee relaxes. And when you roll your pelvis to the left, your right knee relaxes. Very nice. Go ahead and lie on your back again. And just observe. Do you remember before we started, we sensed the contact of our spine with the floor? Is something different now? I would venture a guess that even your ability to perceive your spine lying on the floor is different than when we started. And feel the movement of your lower abdomen as you breathe. Maybe you're already beginning to feel more comfortable lying on your stomach. Please lie on your stomach. And let's just check in with that very first movement that we did, with one hand on top of the other, doesn't matter which, and our forehead on top of the hand, and just follow that little friendly creature up the floor, up the wall in front of you. And notice, does your head feel lighter? Does something feel easier? Good. Now, stand both hands again and turn your head to the right so your left ear is facing the floor. Lift your head away from the floor a little bit and bring your head back. So you use your hands to help you, meaning that you push both hands against the floor gently, and you lift your head away from the floor as it remains turned to the right. So you can see the wall to the right of yourself, and you lift your head. Very nice. Now, do something interesting. When you lift your head like that, just a few times, move your stomach toward the floor. Move your lower abdomen toward the floor as if you wanted to press the floor with your lower abdomen, meaning the area just below your navel and to your pubic bone. And see if that helps you to lift your head. Just do it a few times. That's enough. Turn your head to the left so you're looking to the wall to the left of you. And just slowly, a few times, gently, not striving, not straining, not seeking to achieve something, just small, slow movement of lifting your head as if you wanted to look to the wall to the right, using your hands to help you. Your elbows are toward the ceiling. And now think of that idea of pressing your lower abdomen toward the floor. Good. That's enough. Lie on your back. Maybe for some of you, it's been a long time since you laid on your stomach. But it is a safe thing for you to do. And I would go so far as to say it's a very useful and healthy thing for you to do. That just as it was important for us, for all of us as infants, to lie on our stomach and develop those anti-gravity muscles and the ability to lift our head and orient our head and eyes in space, which is exactly what we learned on the stomach. Believe it or not, we learned how to bring our head into the standing orientation, the same orientation as when we were standing. Just observe the movement of your lower abdomen as you inhale. You feel your shoulders are lying on the floor differently than when we started. Please lie on your stomach. Stand both hands again. Turn your head to the right. And now this time, I'll describe what we're going to do first before you do anything. You lift your head a little bit away from the floor, and then keeping your head parallel to the floor, meaning just as many inches away from the floor as it is when you lift your head, move your head a little bit down and a little bit up. Down would mean your nose going towards your shoulder, your right shoulder, and up would be the back of your head going backwards towards your left shoulder. So now lift your head, just what's easy. Use your hands to help you. And now stay there and just move your head a little down and a little up. Don't turn your head. You keep your head parallel to the floor, just as it is. Maybe you just do one down and one up and then you rest. It doesn't matter. One movement is fine. Slowly. We're not in a race. We're not trying to get it over with. It doesn't matter. You can lift your head 1 inch off the floor, but then stay that 1 inch off the floor and move your head a little down. In other words, your nose towards your elbow, and then a little back. So your chin comes towards your throat, and then your chin goes away from your throat. Very nice. Just rest a moment. Turn your head. Every movement that we've done so far is a movement that you did, that you worked on for days as an infant. Every infant doesn't do it necessarily in the same order or at the same point in development, but we all did it. All right, now with your head turned to the left, stand both hands. Use your hands to help you to just lift your head an inch or two away from the floor, and then you stay there. You stay there without holding your breath, and move your chin down towards your left shoulder and a little bit up. So your chin comes away from your throat, but your head remains parallel to the floor. You don't turn your head. No need to hold your breath. There's no need to make yourself miserable. As I said, you can just do one movement and then rest. We want to take the struggle away. There's enough struggle naturally in life, wouldn't you say? Please lie on your back. These small movements that we're doing, which may seem insignificant to you, they're reminding your brain of healthier, better organized ways of moving that we all knew. And somehow through experience and through trauma, through our adjusting ourselves to culture, we forgot those easier, simpler ways. Again, turn your attention toward your breathing. One more time, please lie on your stomach. Just observe if something's a little more comfortable. Even turning is a little more comfortable. You feel that? You feel a little lighter when you turn. Your hands are perpendicular to the floor, meaning they're standing on the floor, and from your wrist to your elbow is in a straight line, more or less. Your hands are not too close to you and not too far away, somewhere in between, where if you had to get up quickly, not that I want you to get up quickly, but if you were to have to get up quickly, that's where you would put your hands, where your hands and arms will be most effective. Now, this time, stand both of your hands, your elbows toward the ceiling, and slowly, just slowly, turn your head to the right and leave your head there looking to the right, and lift your left leg a little bit away from the floor. Yeah, without bending your left knee, you just lift your left leg away from the floor an inch, 2 inches, and then you let your left leg rest on the floor. You drop it. So just slowly, you use your hands to help you to organize yourself, to lift your left leg. The shape of your left leg doesn't change. The leg is still more or less straight. And now, do you remember a few minutes ago, you probably remember, we did something pushing our lower abdomen toward the floor, gently, of course. Could you do that again as you lift your left leg? Think of your lower abdomen going forward as your leg goes a few inches backwards. Just slowly. Do you know where your tailbone is? Think of your tailbone as going a little bit toward the ceiling. Your tailbone tilts. The very end of your tailbone goes toward the ceiling. Beautiful. And now turn your head, stand your hands. You can do this without standing your hands, but we want to make everything as simple as possible so that your brain and your sensory perception is available to feel yourself. And now go ahead and slowly lift your right leg. Lift your right leg away from the floor. Just what's easy. There's a tendency to contract the left leg also, isn't there? You feel if you can relax your left leg, your head remains on the floor. And think now of your lower abdomen going forward as your right leg goes backwards. Your right leg is going backwards relative to you if you were standing, which is what your legs do alternatingly as you walk. Beautiful. Lie on your back. And just observe. Each time we do a different variation, some other part of yourself is lying on the floor differently. And observe the movement of your lower abdomen. Your spine, your shoulder blades. Please lie on your stomach. Stand both hands like you were going to do a push-up. That's right. Turn your head to the right as if you wanted to look at the wall to the right of you. Just observe, even lying your head like that on the floor is more comfortable than when we started. It's different. And now slowly, slowly, see if you can coordinate lifting your left leg and lifting your head away from the floor. Just a small movement, just slowly. Again, your elbows are toward the ceiling. Slowly, slowly. See if you can do it in a way that's not quick, sudden, but make it a smaller movement, but slower. In other words, it's more of a differentiated movement that you can stop and start at any point. It doesn't have to be sudden and quick. It can be slow and simple and easy. Turn your head. Rest there for a moment. Is your head lying more comfortably looking to the left? Is your right ear a little closer to the floor than when we started? And now, slowly stand your hands again. And now, just slowly, just what's easy, lift your right leg and your head and think of your lower abdomen going forward. Remember that image of your tailbone tilting a little toward the ceiling. You rest between each movement and see if you can reduce the effort in the other leg. Good. Please stop. Please lie on your back. You can do the movements as many times as you want because you can just press pause. And again, you're breathing. Can you feel how, as you inhale, your shoulder blades go a little closer to the floor? And feel how your lower abdomen expands a little forward, a little backwards, a little down, a little up. That's because your diaphragm is moving in a more comfortable way now. Our diaphragm can move most easily when that reciprocal relationship between the muscles of the front of ourself and the back are in a healthy relationship, a balanced relationship. And one last time, lie on your stomach. Stand both hands, both elbows toward the ceiling, and put your forehead on the floor. And just see if you can organize yourself to lift your head and lift both legs at the same time. To lift your head as if you wanted to look forward. That's it. And now go back. It doesn't need to be a big movement. In fact, I would recommend to you that you make the movement small and simple and think of your lower abdomen going forward and your tailbone tilting a little. Now, put one hand on top of the other, your forehead on your hands, and just follow that little friendly bug up the wall in front of you as it crawls up toward the ceiling. And you feel, are you able to follow your friend a little more easily? Yeah. How high up the wall are you seeing now? And stand both hands again. Both elbows are toward the ceiling. And I'd like to go back to something that we did at the very beginning. So turn your head to the right, and now slowly roll your pelvis to the left. The right side of your pelvis comes away from the floor, and look towards the ceiling with your left eye. And now slowly everything comes back, returns. Now turn your head to the left. You look with your right eye towards the ceiling. You push with your left hand and roll your pelvis to the right. And now continue like that, so that when your pelvis is in the middle, your head is in the middle. And when you look up towards the ceiling, when you're turned to the right, you roll your pelvis backwards to the left. And when you turn your head and eyes to the left, then you roll your pelvis to the right, and the left side of your lower abdomen comes away from the floor. And feel how the side of your face, your jaw, your ear is coming in contact with the floor. Is your head lying on the floor more comfortably than when we started? And feel how when you push the floor with your right hand, your left elbow goes backwards towards the floor. That's it. And then when you push the floor with your left hand, when your head is turned to the left, the back of your head rolls towards the floor behind you, and your right eye leads that turning. And then when you turn to the right, your left eye leads that turning. Very nice. And just continue like that. Maybe pick up the speed a little bit. Maybe you do it a little faster. Good. All right. And please lie on your back. Bend your knees. Bring your attention to your lower abdomen, your shoulder blades, your spine. And slowly, very slowly, roll to one side and slowly bring yourself up to sitting and to standing. And just take your time. There's no rush. Observe, is your feeling of yourself different than before the lesson? Feel. Do you feel wider in your chest? Is your sternum higher, your breastbone higher or lower? Are your shoulder blades more back or forward? Is the top of your head closer to the ceiling? Taller? Is the back of your head more back or more forward? And your breathing, your general feeling of yourself. and slowly walk around for a moment, just observing that if you bring your head into this standing orientation, your eyes can see the horizon if you were to be able to look out the window easily. Your stomach is relaxed. Your throat is open. Do your legs somehow feel lighter? Do your hip joints feel different? And remember that idea of your lower abdomen expanding as you inhale. Good. Well, it's very nice to be with you, and I am grateful that you've come. Thank you.